Hey guys, it's Landon Blake with Redefined Horizons and LandonBlake.com, and this is another video I'm doing in the set of videos that show you how to get set up and started with Python development on a Microsoft Windows operating system. And I'm running Microsoft Windows 11. I think this is the third video in our set. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to just do kind of a side-by-side comparison of two IDEs or integrated development environments for Python on Windows. IDE sounds scary. It's not an IDE. It's just a program that helps you write code. So and they have some advantages over just using a text editor like Notepad or Notepad++. So we're going to start with Thonny. I've got the web page up. So Thonny is, I think, the best way to get started with Python, and especially if you haven't done other types of programming, use Thonny. So you just come here and download the Windows version. What I like about Thonny is it comes pre-installed with its own Python interpreter, and you don't have to do anything on the command line to get started. The command line or the command prompt can be a little bit scary if you've never done development before. It's got a graphical interface to what they call PyPy, which is pip and PyPy, which is pip is a package manager for Python and PyPy is a repository for Python libraries, and so it makes that really easy. So we're going to look at Thonny, and then we're going to look at Spyder after that. So Spyder is a Python IDE that is a little more sophisticated than Thonny. They have a lot of similarities. So Spyder comes pre-installed with WinPython, which is another great way to start with Python programming on your Windows computer. And it's super easy. It's already installed, and it has a lot of the same features that Thonny has, but it has a couple additional features. And I think after you get comfortable writing code in Thonny, if you're going to do more than just kind of chicken scratch coding, if you're going to write actual software, then I think you're going to want to graduate to something like Spyder. Now I will say there's some other options. I think another really popular option is PyCharm. They have a free edition. The folks at JetBrains. It looks like a great IDE, and I was tempted to use it coming from a Java programming background. I was used to Eclipse, which is very full featured, but PyCharm seems like it might be a little heavy for a lot of folks. Another option is Visual Studio Code, which has a Python extension, which I think is also a good option. And would probably be what I would use if I didn't have Spyder. But we're going to look at these two because they're great for beginners. So we're going to look at Thonny and we're going to look at Spyder. So we're going to start with Thonny. So I have Thonny pulled up here. And if you've done Java programming before, you'll be a little bit familiar with this layout. So we've got different panes here. This is the main editor pane where we actually write our code. This gives you an outline view of what's in your code file, so you can see this function test add numbers is shown up here. This assistant gives you hints about your code formatting and style, and also will give you errors. If you have errors in your code, it'll highlight those. This is the shell down here, so this is going to give you the output of your program if you're not using a graphical user interface or GUI. And then this is just a view of all the Python files in the directory you set. So I was working with Yapsy, which is a plugin framework for Python the other day. So if I open that folder, you can see my Python file here, and I can just double click on that, and it'll open up. Now, when you first get Thonny out of the box, it isn't going to quite look like this. So I've done a couple things. So Thonny does have some plugins available. And I have a couple plugins installed, so you can install plugins here. So I have the Dracula plugin installed, which allows me to get this color scheme here in my editor. Although Thonny has a built-in dark scheme, which is what you see around here, but I have Dracula installed for this coloring. I like the dark schemes; it's a little easier on my eyes. The other thing is I set my font to Monoid, which is a free font, free programming font. I like it a little better than the default Thonny font. And I'll try and link to both of those, to Dracula and Monoid, in the comment section for the video. So it's super simple to run your code here. So for example, I have a little function here that's defined, and then I use an assert statement. And so we can just say right here we can just call that function, test add numbers. Okay, and I've got an on-purpose error in that code, so you're gonna see the results of the assert statement will show up in the shell. So we'll save that and run it, and you can see here it's giving me the error from the assertion. Okay, so super simple. Super simple to do. Now it kicked me back to my temp directory because I ran a file that was in that folder. But just to show you guys another just quick example. So this is pretty dynamic. So if we add another function, a say hello function here. Oops, sorry. Say hello, and then we're just going to use the Python's built-in print function. So we'll say print hello Landon. Okay, and then we can call that function here. So we'll just say we'll type say hello. Okay, and if I did that right, you'll see hello will come up here on the shell. So we'll save it, run it. You can see it gives me hello Landon down here on the prompt. Okay, now this is also an interactive Python shell here. So you can actually type code here and execute it. So we could type print hello viewer. And then if we hit enter, oh, it gives me an error message because I had an error in my code. So let's try that again. Okay, so you can see it comes up. So this is also an interactive Python shell, although I find that I type most of my code here. So the other thing I really like, so you can download, install, and execute Python code out of the box. You don't got to worry about using the command prompt on Windows or messing around with pip, the package manager, or downloading and installing a Python interpreter and setting your Python path. You don't have to mess with any of that. It just makes it super, super easy. These guys have done a great job, the team at Thonny. The other thing I like about it is it's got a graphical package manager, so you can just search for a package here. So there's a little DXF library called EasyDXF. You can search PyPy, and then you just click on your package that you want and install it, and it's available in Thonny. So this works really, really slick. Okay, so that's Thonny. That's how I recommend you get started. Oh, you can see our other functions, say hello, showed up here in the outline view. Okay, so that's how Thonny works. So let's check out Spyder. So Spyder comes built in with the WinPython directory, excuse me, the WinPython distribution. And I've got another video that shows you how to do that. So similar setup, right? We've got some different panes here. So I've got some different Python files in my editor. I've got a dark scheme set, dark color scheme set. Same thing here. You can set your working directory. Okay, so there's a couple things that I like about Spyder. That you know, some features that you don't have in Thonny. And the first one is it has this concept of projects, and so as you do more, you know, as you're programming, your Python coding gets a little more complicated. It's good to set up projects, and Spyder supports that in a way that Thonny does not support it. So we'll call this example project here. Okay, so I can create a project now, and then I can come in and I can add, you know, I can add Python files, text files, Python packages. So we'll just call this, let's say this is going to be my GUI module. Okay, so then that shows up. You can see it automatically drops into the editor here. So it has this project management viewer here, and the ability to open and kind of manage simple projects here, which I like. You could do that in Thonny on the File Explorer, but it's a little more intuitive when it's built into the integrated development environment. And the other thing I really like is that Spyder supports graphical unit testing, and since I came from Eclipse and JUnit with Java programming, it was really nice for me to have a graphical test runner. Thonny had a couple plugins I found online, but I couldn't get either one of them to work, but it worked pretty slick in Spyder. And just so you guys know, that is a plugin, so it doesn't come built in. But if you just search for Spyder unit test plugin, this page will come up, and it tells you how to install. So I will make sure I get this link. I'll try and get that link in the description for the video on YouTube. So it's got a unit testing, built-in unit testing graphical test runner, which I really like, and it's pretty easy to use once you get it set up. A couple things that maybe aren't as great about Thonny for beginners is you got to be able to use pip. So there's no built-in graphical package manager like there's in Thonny, so you got to be able to use pip if you want to install packages. That's not super hard to do with the WinPython distribution, but you got to be comfortable running a command prompt. And then I don't know if it's because Spyder's using IronPython as its interpreter, or if WinPython is, but it's actually your you know what, that might be, that might not be true. This might just be CPython, but they're calling it IP because it's interactive. So it's got a shell here, same kind of thing. Let's say hello, Landon. Okay, and it'll give me that output. Okay, so a little more full-featured, and I've in the last couple of weeks I've switched over to Spyder, and that's what I'm using to do most of my Python coding. I will still pull Thonny up if I just want to try out some quick code snippets or mess around with a new module or a library, but Spyder's what I'm going to be using to write the code for my desktop application. So either one's a great choice. Maybe if you're new to coding and not comfortable with the command prompt, you start with Thonny, and if you've got some experience programming in a previous language and you're comfortable running commands on a command prompt in Windows, you could start with Spyder. So there you go. I hope this video helps some newbies to Python on Windows. I wasn't able to find a good comparison of these two programs on YouTube, so now there's going to be one. So hopefully we'll catch you guys on some more of our Python videos. Thanks for watching.